Okay, so good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today. My name is Fokpefoluwa Bademasi. I am a construction manager by trade. I have about 8 years experience in the industry, mostly in commercial construction. I have a PhD in design, construction, and planning from the University of Florida, majoring in construction management. My areas of specialization are in building information modeling, virtual design and construction, advanced construction technologies, and robotics and automation in construction. So talking of 2D-based and value tracking systems and method, one thing is for certain, it is very time consuming. It takes up a lot of time, and it is also very challenging to track projects on a large scale and also to track complex, intricate building elements. And value process, the team members are unable to directly on the same platform compare the project schedule and the progress to the budget, right? Because everything is separate, and this makes the whole process kind of disjointed. So this is where 3D based methods comes into play as a solution to the traditional 2D method, right? So in this day and age, technology is breaking through design and construction management practices. And with BIM, we've seen that BIM has proven to improve planning and realization of construction projects. So whatever system you decide to use on your project, the building model, which the system is based on, must be constructed exactly in line with the work breakdown structure that your organization has. And the tracking system must allow for the integration of different software and the linkages between the software should be automated as much as possible. So there has to be interoperability between all the different software that will be used. Also, the ability to associate time and cost values with each of the model's components is very important. Visualization in these systems is typically used as a tool for communicating with project stakeholders. Also, the time and the cost parameters of the project, you must be able to set them as a baseline before construction starts so that you can compare your actual costs and time or schedule to the planned time and cost.
So actually, these actually help with the organization of the project and standardization of the accounts. Like if you're saying WBS needs to be aligned with everything else, so you're actually kind of, it's a prerequisite of using 3D and 4D, but it's actually helping you to become more organized and have a standardized account for your cost and your time. So it's a plus as well, not just a requirement. Thank you.
It's a plus, yes. It definitely helps streamline the process and everyone is on the same page, right? And then any changes to the project, you must be able to implement them at any time during design or the construction process, right? So you must, the updates must be able to be made as soon as possible and then communicated to the entire team so everyone is on track. And lastly, the system must have the ability to generate performance reports and ratios at any point during the project, right, and visually assess the project success. So implementing 3D model-based tracking systems in your
So
organization.
as you mentioned, these are guidelines for best practices.
Yes.
So when we do 3D, for example, we know that Penn State has a good guideline for how to
Mm-hmm.
do your BIM implementation.
Yes.
Or, for example, U.S. Army Corps of Engineer has their own, or AGC has the CM BIM, for example. Do you know, or is there a 4D, for example, guideline or something that we can maybe introduce to our audience? Or have you heard of something that is like a best guideline or best practice for 4D and 5D BIM?
Not that I've seen as no. The
Mm.
one I'll say is mostly is close is the Penn State one, the BIM execution plan, because it goes as far ahead to tell you how to
Oh, it
set up
has the
a
4D?
project
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay.
for coordination,
Mhm.
which is part of, so coordination is the step before sequencing. So once you have your project or your model set up for coordination, you can use that for your sequencing. Through Autodesk Revit and also Navisworks, 4D construction videos can be generated to help access the impact of design, proposed design, and it enables the allocation of optimum resources right across the project lifecycle. Based on the information you've put in Revit, you can sort out the building elements and create sets. So create sets which would, tie in your elements to the schedule. And also in Navisworks, you can create custom properties. So now tying into control. So you can add custom properties like plan date, whether the material has been delivered on site, if inspection has been complete, for instance, if the element has been installed, and you can also put in a column for the issues or comments that need to be addressed by the
So
team.
if I understand it correctly, the 3D model is created in Revit, and
Yes,
then you combine all the different components of the 3D model into the Naviswork as a federated model, and
yes.
then that's when you apply the P6 schedule into it.
Yes. So going into Revit, I have this project open, which is a commercial building. And like I was saying, in Revit, you have to organize the building elements. And once you're done, once your model is ready for export, best practice, I've already done that here, is so for you want to, and then just duplicate that view. That's just best practice. Duplicate the view and you rename it. So once you're done, you would go to your add-ins tab, and then under external tools, you would see Navisworks. So you click on Navisworks, whatever version you have, and you select the name you want to save it as. You select the location. So for instance, it could be our desktop. And you want to double check your settings, because by default, it saves things in like meters and centimeters. So you want to make sure you change your display units to feet and inches if you're using feet and inches. So in Navisworks, you can see exactly what you saw in Revit, but then there's several tools that you can do. So you can click on an element, like I said, you can add properties to it. So you can do that under the properties palette if you wanted to add your, and there's several ways to create sets. You can do a search set, or you can do a selection set. Then when we are done with our sets, we're going to go to the timeliner. So you can click on home here, it will pop up. And then here you would see your tasks. So you can add tasks manually. So if you wanted to just type in, you would select your start date and your end date, right? So that's the basics you need to start your simulation. And if you have your cost as well, you would include that. So this is one way to do it. The other way is to import from outside sources like your P6, for instance. And to do that, you go to data sources. You would go to the add, and you can import directly from Primavera, P6, the different versions. So it's really straightforward. It's intuitive. You just have to match up the columns to your P6 schedule column, for instance. And once you're done, you click OK. Just say no, and you have it. So you want to refresh, so you would click on that and rebuild your hierarchy. That's okay. So when you go to task, everything that was there has been populated. And because I didn't have my start and finish date, this is NA, so you can put that in manually. So I created the sets for my structural, my utilities, and my services, and my architectural. So you will do all of that under here. And then, like I said, you can manually just drag things to the task, and it will attach the elements to that task. So for selection sets, which we've done, you can only do one at a time. You can only attach one task to one element or one set to a task. If you wanted to add multiple, then you would use your search sets, which is your adding rules and things like that. So once you have all of this set up, you go to the simulate, and you press play. Let's start from the beginning. You press play, and then you see things start to come up in sequence. That is what you can do with, that's the basics of what you can do with the timeliner. You can also go ahead to show you when you have your actual dates put in, you can do your actual dates sequencing, and you can also do a planned versus actual so you can compare. So that's a quick demo. And just to wrap up our discussion, so like I said, there are other platforms. The ones that I also use, BIM 360 fields and assemble systems. With BIM 360 fields, you will put in your progress reports, pictures of completion, inspection, checklist, quality assurance checklist, and you can synchronize that information with Navisworks, and change the colors. And then, like I said, we assemble systems. You can track installation progress of elements. You can sort and filter to see percentage installed, which also directly relates to the cost of the project, and see if the project is within budget or under budget or over budget. So I've shown you an overview of the 3D based system, and we had started talking about the benefits, but there is no doubt that the 3D based systems are more beneficial than the 2D methods. So because these platforms are based heavily on visualization of the project, they help facilitate weekly progress meetings, because the team will be able to see plan versus actual work complete, overall inspection status, quality aspects of the project, and so on. I highly encourage organizations who haven't started thinking or digitizing their, 3D and 4D workflows, tracking methods to just
Well, a
start
good
doing them.
news for you and for your students is that we don't have enough BIM 4D consultants in the industry. We are seeing a lot of 3D consultants,
Yeah.
but 4D is a opportunity for young students and young engineers and young construction managers to really get into and become familiar and experts in it. And companies will definitely look for that kind of talent
Yeah.
and skill in their company. So that's a good news. And but I'll definitely reach out to you, and hopefully for the next event, we'll invite you to do some more collaborative work with other people in your field.
That would
Okay,
be great.
great.
Thank you.